So thank you. It's lovely to be here today, and I'm really excited to be the first speaker on, because it then means I can just sit back, enjoy the other speakers and the rest of the day. A tiny bit about my background to put into context what I'm going to be talking about today. I've been in marketing for 31 years. I can barely believe it when I say that. 3 decades I've been in marketing. Started out working for big corporate brands as a very young, innocent, hadn't got a clue about marketing woman. Made lots of mistakes, as we invariably do. I think that definition of an expert, isn't it, is that you make lots of mistakes until eventually you crack it in a narrow field. Made lots of mistakes, had some great training, had my 2 boys and gave up the big corporate career up in London, and then started my own business. And I know what it's like to start a business from nothing, and other than the zeal and the enthusiasm and a bit of a lack of confidence, having had these 2 boys. And somewhere down the line I've tumbled into writing books, and I've built quite a nice little marketing business. I specialise in working with small business clients. I am not taking any more clients on for the foreseeable future at all. So anything I share today, it's not a pitch, it's just tips from the heart that I know that work. I love writing and I love social media. Even though I'm 51, you kind of expect maybe, are you into social media? Yes, I definitely am. I just love Twitter. Facebook's okay. LinkedIn's great for my online CV. I think Twitter is my pill of choice. But most importantly, I work with lots of small businesses as their marketer, and social media is but one facet of their overall marketing communication program. It was interesting, I was approached by Microsoft a couple of months ago to ask if I would contribute to a book called Key Metrics for Business Success on social media. And I said, have you got the right person? I'm just like some 51-year-old bird that does marketing, and I happen to enjoy social media. And they said, we actually want to have a marketer giving a perspective on social media for small, medium businesses. So if you look that up, or I can send you a copy, I'll share in there my views on social media. So today I'm actually going to be talking to you about branding within a broader context. And I want you perhaps might be able to relate to this situation I'm going to share with you now. So if you're on Twitter or Facebook, if you're on a blog or a forum, imagine that somebody contacts you, a bit like with Alan and the coffee. They contact you and you start a very nice rapport. You share messages, maybe share pictures, but it's all in a commercial context. You're not doing it in a Facebooky context. Here's my kitten, here's me and the kids this weekend. You're doing it with your business hat on, but you're embracing the element of social in social media. And what happens, this relationship gets to the stage where you think, do you know what, a bit like with Alan, we now need to take this offline into the real world, face to face, pressing hands, or even on the telephone. And you've got a really good impression about that person. And then you speak to them on the phone, or you meet them, and it all goes horribly wrong, because the image that they presented to you is nothing like the person that's in front of you or on the end of the phone. And it's really disappointing. They've somehow lost their personal brand. They haven't been authentic. And what about if we spin it round the other way? That you meet somebody here today and you get on really well with them, and there's a bit of a rapport going, there might be a good business connection. It could be that you can give business to them, or they can give business to you, or you can simply work together for mutual benefit. And so you're interested, you say, met me today, and you go on and you check out my Twitter feed. You check out blogs that I write and you think, blimey, she sounded so okay or so good at that talk, and yet her Twitter feed's pretty rubbishy. She hasn't tweeted for 6 months. She's got a little egg instead of a smiley face as her avatar. There are spelling mistakes. And I want to give you a real life example of this, and I have to be deliberately vague in case anybody guesses the company I'm talking about. Lawsuits, protect me, please, Suzanne. I met this very charming, she was a young lass, about 1920, at an event about social media. And she was the social media manager for a social media brand that's based in the area I live in, which is Horsham. I was quite enchanted by her, intelligent girl. Thought, great, went onto Twitter, and she was following me. And I looked at her Twitter feed, and she'd got, the 3 tweets were, now you guys might get excited about this, but us girls might not. There was a picture of her in stockings and some sort of fancy outfit that she'd worn at an event that weekend. And I'm thinking, okay. The tweet was, I hate Mondays. I absolutely hate Mondays. And I thought, blimey, what if I was a client and we had a meeting on Monday and you're saying you hate Mondays. But what does that say about you if you're actually saying I hate Mondays? Then her third tweet was just the word chocolate repeated to fill in all 140 characters. And you know what I thought? You know, I really liked you at this meeting, and the way in which she communicated with me, she was eloquent, articulate, she was a vibrant young woman, seemed to know her stuff. But my thinking was, if I recommend her to a client and they do a search on her, it will bring up her Twitter feed. And my client's going to think, what in all is Dee Blick doing, recommending me to a girl that's appearing in, you know, stockings, chocolate, I hate Mondays. So I tackled her on it. I actually said to her in a contact and said, do you realise how badly your tweets are portraying you? And she said, well, and there was the ubiquitous line in her biog, tweets in my own name do not represent my employer's views. You can't do that. If you're there, it doesn't matter whether you're trying to do it in a personal capacity, if you're in a business capacity and you're wanting to connect with people, those ubiquitous words, tweeting in my own name, not the views of my employer, they don't count because we build our impression of somebody on what they present to us. And she in the end said, well, you know, I'm quite happy with the way that I'm tweeting. She just couldn't actually see. And it was interesting, I was invited by, there's a guy called Peter Jones from Dragon Den. He launched these entrepreneur classes in Chichester, the Peter Jones Academy. And I was invited to go and speak to the students there. And my first thought was, flipping it, they're all about, you know, 22, 23, there'll be fantastic social media kids. I'll be sitting there like this dinosaur holding my Twitter symbol aloft saying I'm not that much of a dinosaur. What was fascinating when I was speaking to these kids about their businesses is that not one of them had cottoned onto the idea they could use social media beyond its purely social context of gassing with their mates. When I was actually talking about, say, using Twitter in a business context, it hadn't occurred to them that they could use it. And so that if you went on their Twitter feed, some of it was they hadn't tweeted for months. When I said, you know, have you not thought that this is quite a good business tool that you could at least explore? And of course, they're the generation Y, they've grown up with these tools, but they've grown up with seeing them as purely social tools to engage rather than business tools. So what this shows to me, the bit that what I've just been saying to you now, is that we have to focus, every single one of us here today, we have to focus on building a vibrant, authentic and credible brand. A brand that endures online and a brand that endures offline. And that's what I'm going to do today, share with you a few tips about branding. I'm going to get you to do a little bit of work too, so you don't just get bored listening to me going on for half an hour. Because branding is something that I'm passionate about. I don't make much distinction between the online world and the offline world. I think it's great that online we can be more sociable. Great talk about the coffee. And I've got no end of business through social media. I've had the most amazing relationships. I was approached by Barclays yesterday, want me to work on a huge project. It's going to even be going onto the TV and all sorts of bits and bobs through Twitter. So I really am quite excited about the concept of us using social media in that way, but I don't see the distinction between online and offline. Fundamentally, we want to communicate, don't we? We want to communicate all that's good and great about what we do. And if we've got our little business hat on, we hope that at some stage, some of the people, only some of the people we're communicating with, will either engage with us, they might go onto our blog, they might recommend us. The vast majority of people that you engage with on social media will not do business with you. And that might sound like a really harsh thing to say, and that's because there's a low level of commitment involved in following or liking somebody. It doesn't mean that if I follow you, I'm your best friend. It doesn't mean if I follow you, I'm going to give you business further down the line. It could just be that we enjoy a bit of a banter. But most people are not in it to give you business. But within those people that are engaging with you on social media, they're the golden nuggets. And these are the guys we're after. It's like your direct mail, isn't it? You mail out 10,000 people knowing that 9,500 won't respond, but you're after the 500 that there's a hope of them responding. And it's the same on social media. You're after the golden nuggets, the people that you get a bit of a flicker of an interest in them and they want to pursue a relationship with you that will unfold over a period of time. So back to branding. I have been involved in branding since I was 22. I've studied it. I'm a fellow of SIM, so I like the academic side of branding, but I'm going to be sharing with you some very practical tips that you can carry online and offline too. And I want to start by sharing with you the best definition of branding that I've ever come across, and it's from this is Philip Kotler, who's a bit of a guru on branding, and I just love this quote. He says, and I've left my glasses in the car, so this is going to be a real thespian one here today, with a flourish. He says, a brand is a promise to your customers, the totality of perceptions about a product, service or business, the relationship customers have with it based on past experiences, present associations and future expectations. Brand reality is always defined by the customer's view. That's quite profound, that last bit, isn't it? Brand reality is always defined by the customer's view. So what we're saying there is it's what our customers think about us that ultimately influence the power and the value of our brand. But what we are charged with, we're the custodians of our brand, aren't we? Of polishing it, keeping it wholesome, keeping it authentic, growing it, keeping it congruent. We're charged with doing that, but fundamentally it's how people view us. And it's the same on social media, isn't it? How you're viewed through the lens of social media is so crucial. So what are the benefits of building your business into a brand? I'd like anybody here to share with me, what are the benefits of having a brand? Anybody come up with any ideas?
Giving you an identity.
So can you speak a bit?
Giving you an identity.
Gives you an identity, definitely.
Gives you more credibility.
Absolutely. So an identity, more credibility.
Instantly recognizable.
Yes, absolutely. Tell you what I like about branding is that from the point of view of a small business, I meet many small businesses say, oh, I can't turn my business into a brand. Yes, you absolutely can. You might be a niche player in a small market or aiming for global stardom. You can turn your business into a brand. And what I love about a brand, the benefits of having a brand is, number one, you get more sales. Because fundamentally that is what we are about, isn't it? Enjoying ourselves, building a great ethical business and getting more sales. The great thing about a brand is that it compresses the decision-making process of a prospect. So there are 5 stages to a buying process. There's awareness, interest, evaluation, desire, and action. They're the 5 stages that a buyer's going to go through before they'll buy from you. If you've got a wholesome brand, suddenly that buyer will buy from you in a much shorter space of time simply because they've got a feeling that they can know, like and trust you. So that's great. The other great thing about a brand is, of course, we sell more. We build loyalty. In tough times, like recessionary times, customers tend to be more loyal. We get a larger share of purchase given to us. So there are many great reasons as to why we should look at building a brand and not just be a generic business. You know, you don't want to be just lumped in with your competitors. You want to be able to rise above and pop out, don't you? Pop out as a result of your hard efforts and your great business. So I want to share with you the basis on how you can build a brand, and this applies online and offline. It's just the whole shebang. So great brands are built on 4 things. Clarity. Clarity is really, really important. Now, clarity is, you might think, Christ, this is bonkers, what is this woman talking about? Clarity, being clear. I work with so many small businesses, and I'm going to give you an example in a moment of one that I was with 2 days ago, that I will say to them, tell me what you offer. I'll look at their website, tell me what you offer. And the likelihood is that their website only tells half the story, and that's because they've got into cut and paste itis. They haven't really put any effort into their website. They've just looked at what competitors are doing and chucked a slab of text on there. Clarity is being able to communicate in a compelling, engaging manner exactly what it is that you offer. And what I want you to do, I think if you've been to any of my talks before, you'll know that I bang the drum for something called a positioning statement, which is, I've actually got a whole masterclass about this in my new book. I want you to create your positioning statement. Now, your positioning statement, you've probably heard it referred to as your benefit statement. And yet I work with loads of small businesses. I'll go on their website, I'll then drag the directors into the boardroom, which is what I did a couple of days ago. And I'll say to them, tell me all about your business, all the benefits that you offer. And they'll run through this list with a bit of coaxing, a bit of cajoling. And then I'll say, okay, let's review this huge list. I've got 3 pages here. I'm only going to read a tiny bit. I've got 3 pages here. And I'll say, all these things that you've gone through with me now, are these in your sales literature? Is this anywhere on social media? Are you sharing any of these nuggets about your expertise on social media? And the answer is invariably no. And the reason why is, well, it's common sense to us. There's a barrier, and it's called business owner thinking, common sense to us. We're doing it. and the actual potential customer. So developing your positioning statement is fundamental. It's the DNA of your business. It gets rid of this need to have a USP, which you don't have to have, but you have to know exactly what it is that you are offering, why it is so valuable, and why people should buy from you, because it will inform every single communication, verbal, written, online or offline. So this company, they're called Omega Valves. Now, valves are not sexy, but by Georgia, they're important. If you're on a North Sea oil rig, having valves is very, very important. Also, I found out the other day. Now, their website was shocking. I actually said it's one of the worst websites that I've seen, which thankfully they took in good spirit. Their sales letters were just 2 or 3 lines. I've got 4 pages here of their positioning statement. It took an hour to do this. 4 pages of absolute gems that we can now communicate across many different platforms. You know, things like, we're 35 years old, we're a safe pair of hands, not a fly-by-night company. We offer a consultancy service. Because of our experience, customers undertaking large engineering projects will often benefit from lower price valves when buying from us, and every single valve we supply is quality checked and certified. That's not the case with a lot of our competitors. Our price strategy is to deliver exceptional value. We don't want to be a cheap supermarket supplier of cheap valves. We supply exceptional quality valves with spare parts that our competitors don't, and that all-important technical service. Customers tell us we're very easy to deal with. We use layman's terms. We know that often we're speaking to a guy in a warehouse with a spanner in his hand. We talk his language. We'll actually quote for the price there and then. They don't have to give us a quote number. So there's about 4 pages here from this session a few days ago, and that's their positioning statement. And I'd love it if every single one of you went away today and did that, because what you'll do is you'll find things that you're doing that you're not communicating. 1, because you're taking it for granted, and 2, because you've forgotten about it. It hasn't even gone onto your radar. So what happens when you're challenged with what on earth can I tweet about? If I'm going to be an expert, what things can I tweet about? You just don't do it because you're grasping at straws. When you've got that typed out document, you've got a whole host of goodies you can subsequently communicate across all manner of platforms. Second thing is consistency. So if we're talking about clarity is important, consistency is really important. And what do I mean by consistency? It means that whenever I communicate with you, if I'm a potential customer, over whatever platform, social media, email, phone, I know I'm going to get the same great response. I'm not going to think, my God, is that the same woman that tweeted and I'm now speaking on the phone and she sounds quite harsh? Or on Twitter, she's so helpful sharing tips, or Facebook or her blogs, and now she's really trying to pitch to me. So consistency is important, and you see consistency in action in the franchise model, don't you? It's the ultimate in consistency. So what I want you to do, I want you to audit all of your communication touch points with prospects and customers. So think about how prospects and customers engage with you, not just at the buying stage, but beyond the buying stage as well. And look at your touch points. Again, I'm always fascinated when I get a business to do this, that I'll find they're great on the delivery, but on the after sale, they can fall off the perch. For example, looking at Omega Valves, I was looking at their post-sale communications to prospects, to clients, and they were shocking. They were trying to sell more to them. I said to the guy, you know, you've just signed a customer up. Surely you should be talking about your technical backup and support, not about buying more products. Save that for one stage further down the line. So analyse all those touch points. And what you've got to think is, am I being friendly? Am I being helpful? Am I delivering wows? If I'm selling, is it appropriate that I am selling in this context? Make sure that if you use other parties to promote your brand, check on their communication touch points too. And when I say, are you missing out on a trick, I'll give you an example of a business that I spent, it was only about £60 with. I ordered some nutritional products on the internet from this eBay supplier, and the guy got my email address, he got my telephone number, and the products came, and they came on time, they were perfectly packaged, and that was all I got. What a missed trick there. This guy has got a brand new customer spending £60 on a product that you buy every other month. So immediately it's like a lifetime value. This guy didn't send me an email to say, Dee, have the products arrived? Are you happy with them? He didn't phone me to ask me if I was pleased with my purchase. He's not even contacted me since. And yet he's got a product that's predicated on a bi-monthly purchase. So I want you to decide, are you missing opportunities to sell at appropriate times, and are you overselling at others? If we look at social media, there's an awful lot of overselling that goes on. You'll get a person will rock onto Twitter or whatever the channel is of your choice, and they'll immediately go, hi, I'm here, I've got a special offer, I'm a printer, 500 business cards for 25 quid. Hello? People have got to know, like and trust you before they'll even begin to think about considering your selling messages. So consistency is really important. So we've got clarity, we've got consistency, we've got continuity. Continuity is the feeling of reassurance that a customer gets in knowing that you're going to be around today and tomorrow. And that's why it's important, for example, that you tell your story and you think, oh my God, but I'm a new business, Dee. How can I give that nice cuddly feeling that we're a safe, risk-free proposition to do business with? Well, share what it is in your background that led you to form the business you're with today. Use social media to promote yourself as being a bit of an expert, because you'll build trust in that way. Because continuity is that feeling of, I'm going to give you business because I've got a good, strong feeling that you're going to be around tomorrow. And in the current climate, it is so important that businesses show they're a safe pair of hands. So think about your story. What is it in your story that you need to communicate that you are a safe pair of hands? And are you doing this on your website? I got into a bit of an argument with an author the other day. I write with Wiley, my publisher, for my third book. And he said, he put this dismissive tweet out, you know, golden nuggets won. I hate all that thing, you know, golden. Nobody's bothered about how long you've been in business. And I wrote back and said, yes, they are. It can convey you're a safe pair of hands in an increasingly volatile world if handled in the right way. He never came back to me. But I want you to think about telling your story to show you're a safe pair of hands. And your story will change and evolve, but it comes from a point. If I'd started here by saying, oh, I'm just new to marketing, but I told you a bit about my story, that I was 51, I've been going for 30 odd years in marketing, to hopefully inspire you that I know what I'm talking about. The other thing is visibility. Great brands have got strong visibility, and that's very important on social media and in the non-social media world. Hands up any designers here today. Any I love you. You are designers are the unsung heroes. Please, dear God, if you've got money, invest in a designer, because visibility is what your brand looks like. It's how you communicate yourself to the outside world. It's that feeling of confidence that comes from knowing the business card you haven't produced at home on cheap letterhead paper and it rains and it's a bit blurry, or you've gone through lines, oh, that's my old mobile phone number. But online, visibility is having a vibrant presence, either a nice smiling face or a business logo. It means completing the amount of letters, say, for example, on Twitter that you can use in your biography. But good design is an investment, not an expense. And I never work with a business unless they're willing to commit to investing in some design for their business. So going back to poor old Amiga Valves, which is a fantastic company, the guy said, Dad created our logo about 30 years ago using a Letraset thing. And I said, I think it's time for a bit of a freshen up, guys. You know, if we're going to be putting our best foot forward into the universe and communicating with these FTSE 100 companies, I don't think that a website that Dad made and a Letraset logo, I think we'll keep it, but we'll actually get a professional pair of hands to give a bit of sparkle, professionalism and va-va-voom to it. So what you look like is important. So invest in the services of a designer. You might want a bit of a rebrand or touching up what you've already got to make it more professional. You might want to add a strapline about what you do if you've got a bit of a wacky business name. I did a session with the social media students at Manchester University yesterday. They were asking me about names for their businesses, all these wacky names like Blue Juice, Orange Zebra and all that palaver. So well, what about a little strapline, you know, affordable social media for small businesses? Try and think about, if we added a strapline, would that immediately tell somebody exactly what it is that we do? So visibility is very important. It's how you present yourself to the outside world. It's vital online, and it's great because on social media we can create our look, but make sure it's completely congruent with the look that you've got, so that when you go onto my website, hopefully you went and check me out on Twitter today, you'll go onto my website and say, oh yeah, I can really see the connection there. It's definitely Dee. It's not who is this Dee here and who is this Dee there. Finally, great brands are built on wows. And I've got a volunteer here. I've got a volunteer here to talk about the importance of wows, because really the idea about wows is having that great feeling that you leave with a customer or a prospect every time you meet with them. What was our page?
240.
It's just my book. I'm asking Alan who doesn't.
243 or 7?
Here we are.
7.
So good brands are built on lots of wows. You just read that, darling.
Of course. Finishing on a high with the wow model of customer service. A mediocre standard of customer service is no longer acceptable in today's world. You're unlikely to retain loyal customers unless your service is of the highest quality. Hopefully this masterclass will have shown you that you can deliver a fantastic customer service without spending over the odds. Use this simple but effective wow model to make your customers fall in love with you even more. Aim to delight your customers with one little extra. One moment of real thoughtfulness, one extra minute of your time, one extra check just to ensure everything's okay. The impact of that one little extra can lead customers saying, wow, that's what I call an amazing service. That is lovely, thank you. I didn't expect that. That's so thoughtful of you. That's such a weight off my mind. The best little extras meet the following criteria. They're instantly noticed and valued by your customers. They're quick and easy to implement. They cost little or nothing and so don't make a dent in your budget. They're implemented consistently, not just when you're in a generous frame of mind or when you have the time. And they always put a smile on your customer's face.
Thank you. That's beautifully read.